How you doing, guys? BC90 here with part 2 of this particular setup, the dual wielding setup with the Great Club and the Lothric Knight Sword. And part 2 here will be the PvP montage. So if you want to have a look at the build breakdown with stats and equipment, have a look at part 1. One thing I might add though is I added a refined Mailbreaker +9 here to my equipment as well. We're still below 70% weight ratio, as you see up there, which is incredible. Reason being is because I encountered a couple of great shield users that can be a little bit difficult to deal with, and the weapon art for the refined Mailbreaker is the shield splitter. Similar to the Corvian Great Knife, it just bypasses shields and deals damage directly. So it's a good little addition there to put pressure on those great shield users if you face them in combat, just to get them to open up a little bit more. So we'll go straight into the first match here, guys, and hopefully I can showcase this particular setup, you know, in terms of its versatility. Oh, haven't seen that get used in PvP in a while. We're just gotta be careful. Does leave him wide open though, as you can see. He wants to hit us with projectiles. Remember, guys, that the running and rolling R1s can be parried, so I just got lucky there that he sort of mistimed his. There we go. So yeah, just remember, guys, that if you sort of can predict that your opponent is going to go for a parry, try to avoid doing the rolling or running R1 with your heavy weapons, because if they get their timing correctly, they will be able to parry you. And that was just my mistake there. So we got lucky. Now, like I mentioned in part 1 of this video, if we're fighting heavy weapons, so great swords, great axes, ultra great swords, and great hammers, I'm just going to be two-handing the Great Club, because we have our Poise breakpoint optimized higher than 45.85, so we will be able to tank through their two-handed R1s as long as we're in our active frames. But for quicker weapons, I want to try and showcase how effective the Lothric Knight Sword can be. And of course we have, you know, a crossbow there if we need to use it, a parry tool if we need to use it, but to be honest I use it more for HP regen. And yeah, I added the Mailbreaker as well, just in case we encounter a great shield user. It might be a little bit easier to open them up and cause a bit of pressure, or create a bit of pressure for them. Ooh, it's a Black Knight Greataxe, I think. Alright, so another heavy weapon. We're just going to be two-handing our Great Club. Oh, I love that. Oh, what did I tell ya? He got us with a parry. So now we're not going to run. We're not going to run into it. But what we're going to do instead is I'm going to show you the neutral game, or the passive game. We're going to be sort of avoiding this guy a little bit, just until we get enough HP there to be able to trade with him again. And as you can see, he's opened up with his, or he's one-handing it now to get his parry tool in again, which means that if I do that rolling R1, this guy is going to be able to parry it. So we're going to be very careful. So he's trying to get me, he's trying to bait me into another rolling R1. So we're going to avoid that. See if we can trade with him. There we go. So we're back in the game. This time I'm not going to fall for that baiting technique. There we go. And my next video I will be showcasing the Black Knight Greataxe actually. And I think I explained or I mentioned the fact that when using Warcry with that particular weapon, that sort of changed up R2 attack, that sort of lunges you forward to attack. As you can see, leaves you wide open. I don't really use it much in PvP, similar to the Warcry R2 on the Great Club, because yeah, it looks cool, but you know, it doesn't hit very often. It's easily telegraphed, and even though it can hit for a lot of damage, against someone who knows how to space you, it'll just leave you wide open to counterattack. So you're better off just using the regular R1s with these heavier weapons, and obviously mixing it up with an R2 here and there, mixing it up with one-handing it here and there, just to switch up your you know, your attack speed a little bit. But I wouldn't go for the weapon art attacks at all. I think I mentioned this in previous videos. I'm not a big fan of weapon arts in general. A lot of them are quite gimmicky. Some of them obviously are good, but yeah, a lot of them are not really that useful in PvP, in my personal opinion. So, I mean, your mileage may vary, guys. So we got a mage, also with a Karthus. Is that a Karthus curved greatsword or something? I don't know. I don't know its name entirely, I guess. Oh no, actually that's the Murakumo, isn't it? Yeah, it's the Murakumo. My bad. I always love the Murakumo in Dark Souls 1. I don't think it's as powerful here in 2. I mean in 3, sorry. But it's still pretty cool. So we're playing the neutral game again here. We're going to try and force a trade with this guy, as long as we get him open. Quite sure the Murakumo there has pretty crazy phantom range. I see, as you can see there, once we get in the trading game with these heavier weapons, we're always going to come out on top. Whoop! You just got to be careful when you go for your reloads with your crossbow. They are going to leave you a little bit open. And this guy's quite good at dodging, so he sort of gets the gist of what we're trying to do. See if we can finish him off with the Lothric Knight Sword. There we go. So like I commented in my part 1 to this particular setup, when you whip out your Lothric Knight Sword at the very last minute, after your opponent's sort of getting used to your slower Great Club attacks, it's very good at finishing them off because they don't really expect it, and it sort of throws off your timing a little bit. So in that particular matchup where I knew I only had to, you know, hit him one more time, obviously I could have gone for the trade there with the Great Club, but I wanted to showcase how effective the Lothric Knight Sword can be at being that weapon for you, finishing off your opponent with it. So, you know, we went in there with the Lothric Knight Sword instead. Alrighty, straight on to the next match, guys. So yeah, another like basic tactic that I like to use is just opening up with the Great Club two-handed, because your less aware opponents won't notice you actually have the Lothric Knight Sword there in its hilt. So you can whip it out at the last minute there and surprise your opponent with it. Obviously your more aware players are gonna see it and gonna be like, alright, so he's got that, so it's probably an offhand weapon. But your less aware players are gonna have, you know, are gonna be surprised by it, guys. So it's a little extra tactic there. Alright, so this is a particularly bad matchup for us because the Gundy's Halberd has awesome range. Yep, as you can see, he's got a range advantage with us, and also that those weapon arts are quite deadly. So we're going to have the Saestus here. Did he get some HP regen back there? I don't really know. Got to be very careful here, guys, with a weapon that's a bad matchup for us, because when we fight these particular halberds and whatnot, and spears, also katanas, with an opponent that knows how to space you properly, it's going to be quite difficult to nab a victory. So we're going to be very careful here, guys. But as soon as we go in for the trade there, we can come out on top. Now we'll see if we can try and finish him off here. I think he knows what we're trying to do. He's also got a parrying weapon there. Got to be careful because the Lothric Knightsword as well can be parried. So it's probably not a good idea to have it in your offhand if you know that your opponent can parry. Do you know what I mean? There we go. So yeah, just remember the weaknesses that I've discussed with this particular setup. Rolling and running R1s with your heavy weapon, parryable as you saw in that earlier match. Lothric Knightsword, also parryable, although arguably it's a little bit harder to do, I guess, when it's in your offhand. But keep it in mind. So if you see your opponent whip out a parry tool like that, whether it be a small shield or a cestus, I'd probably say don't take your chances. Instead, focus on your unparryable attacks, which are your regular two-handed R1s using your Great Club. But yeah, see how you go. Straight on to the next match here, guys. Okay, so it looks like okay, Legion Etiquette, cool dude. Is that a Farron Greatsword? I don't know. Oh, it's a Bloodshade. Cool. See if he goes for a spell here. Maybe, maybe not. And there we got him with a firebomb. So yeah, I haven't really fought Bloodshades that much, I guess. I'm not quite sure what their MO is from memory. No idea. Is it bleed builds? I can't remember. Alrighty guys, so let's see if we can get one more match in here, guys. Is that another Farron Greatsword? I can't see it properly from here. Because if it is, then, yep, unfortunate. Oh, okay. Another mage. Whoops. Took that one to the face. And that one. Alright, so we're going to play the dodging game here for a little while, guys. Oh no, wait, it's a Moonlight Greatsword, actually. Not Baron Greatsword. So let's play the neutral game for a little while here, guys. Get a bit of that HP regen back. Get used to his spells, maybe. Alright, so he's got Farron Flash Sword as well. We've got to be aware of that. We've got to dodge, keep dodging this one, keep dodging that one. That's your main tactic with mages, guys, is keep dodge rolling. Don't stay in one spot like I did at the beginning of this match. We are getting a bit of HP regen though, as you can see. So play the neutral game, guys. Against mages if you need to get that HP regen back, even though the neutral game for them is advantageous because obviously they can cast spells again. So just remember that if you're going to be playing the neutral game against a mage, you're going to be constantly dodging, okay guys? And there we go. Two hits. That gentleman mustn't have had a lot of health. You know, if it only took us 2 hits to kill him. But yeah, when you do fight mages, guys, I think I've mentioned before that the neutral game is advantageous to them because obviously it lets them swig that you know, blue Estus and also chuck spells at you. But with my particular build setup here, the neutral game for us is advantageous when we want a HP regen. So even against a mage, as you saw, he had the opening advantage there by knocking me with a few spells. Just play the neutral game for a little bit, as long as you're dodging around and you're quite good at anticipating his spells and, you know, avoiding them, you can get back in the game fairly quickly. And that's it. That might end this you know, particular PvP showcase. I'll just reiterate the strengths of this particular setup again. The Lothric Knight Sword is good at whiff punishing, and it's a good sort of 1-2 punch combo with your Great Club. But again, if your opponent is wielding a heavy weapon, you want to have the Poise breakpoint backing you at 45.85 to be able to tank through their two-handed R1s, you know, in your active frame. So any heavy weapons, two-hand your Great Club. Faster weapons, you can take advantage of the dual wielding setup. And like I showcased in one of those fights, you know, if you whip out your Lothric Knight Sword at the last minute, you can usually finish someone off by surprising them with it. Stasis there is for parrying, but for me mainly it's for HP regen. We've got the Knight's Crossbow, as always, to punish mistakes and to punish slow openings in your opponent's attacks. And finally, the only thing I added here was the you know, the Mail Breaker, mainly for the shield splitting weapon art. But that's completely optional. You don't really have to have it there if you don't want it, but if you do fight those great shield users, it might be easier for you to force them to make a mistake or to open them up. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video because I particularly really liked using this setup. It was quite fun, and I encourage you to try this setup yourselves and see how you go. My next video will probably be looking at the Black Knight Greataxe, you know, which is a pretty awesome weapon as well in itself, and you know, obviously I'll discuss the poise breakpoints you need to be able to, you know, face tank two-handed R1s again. So we'll see in that next video. So guys, if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. If you're enjoying my content, please subscribe. Otherwise, as always, thank you for watching.